We covered a lot of the Premier League this weekend. One thing which struck me was just kind of a bit weird, basically. Salah talking about VAR after Liverpool's win. VAR didn't really have too much to play in it, but he's asked about it and he said that it's killing football. He says he wants to get rid of it. What I think is interesting, Jules, and whether or not it's just because it's the Premier League and there are more eyes on it, you just feel that England have embraced VAR less than any other country.
Yes, and maybe you can understand it in the sense that he's been chaotic at times. It's been a bit of a mess because some decisions are given in one game, the same one is not given in the other game. We saw that a lot with handball, of course, last season, but also this season. And the tiniest of offside, again, all those lines coming up, the blue one, the red one, all of that. I think maybe he gets a bit on players' nerves. Certainly some players who are quite often like Mo Salah, whether they're on the good side or the bad side of it, but quite a lot involved with it. And I think if you're Mo Salah and you're not so sure if you have to celebrate your goal or not because you're not sure if you're offside or not, maybe there's a point where you think, you know what, we were better off when there was no VAR. But you're right, the comment was a bit strange considering there was not really any VAR involvement in that game against West Ham for Mo Salah.
Why, Don? Why did... Go on, Stevie.
How about the British public and people in general love a moan-up about anything? How about that? I mean, seriously.
Craig Burley, Exhibit A.
Seriously. And I can assure you, as a former player, having scored a couple of goals and had them disallowed because some idiot with a flag couldn't see past his own nose, I'm more than happy to have VAR.
Don?
Well, Mo Salah doesn't like it because he wants to score goals because he's a selfish player and that's his opinion. But he was more or less, I think, talking about the Tottenham game when he had that goal disallowed, didn't he, for Roberto Firmino's handball. I think it's the small decisions, Dan, that I think just gets on our nerves a little bit. Have you seen the Danny Ings offside at the weekend? It was like an absolute fraction. You know, there's a Matty Cash handball that looked a stonewall penalty. And Julien's right, when you look at some of the decisions, I think as a commentator, I think it's hard for the referees and more so for the fans when you're watching on. You're looking at some incidents and you think, well, last week that would have been a penalty, or this week this would have been offside, and everything just seems a little bit inconsistent. I know they're trying hard to fix it, and I know it's in its infancy, so we might have to give it a little bit of time. The one that really knocks me is, which would be my fix, and listen, I'm not the oracle, but when you see an offside decision and it's so close, like the Danny Ings one, in my opinion, if you got rid of the lines and you said to someone in VAR, right, what do you see with no lines on the pitch? Someone's a yard offside. Is the yard offside? If it's too tight and you literally cannot tell if someone's on or off with no lines on the pitch, let it go. Let's see more goals. That's what we want.
But the problem is with that, Don, is at least the lines give you consistency. We know that camera angles can be very deceptive, and from one camera angle you go, he's definitely off, and another one say he's on. So why don't you use science to help you? Why would you go back a step?
Well, listen, I looked at the Sadio Mane offside, I think it was in the Everton game a few months back. And I looked at that over and over and over again. And every time I saw it, I saw Sadio Mane being onside. And the decision was offside. So I know we've got to go with it. We have to roll with it. And it's just something that I think we have to get used to. And because it is sort of brand new, it's a little bit alien to us. And it might take a little bit of time. And in 18 months' time, when a few things get tweaked, because you go back to a fair few months ago in a Man United game when Victor Lindelof got accused of handball, when a ball literally got deflected somewhere and someone headed it off his hand from 6 inches away. And as me and Stevie have played the game, there's a I wouldn't say spirit of the game, but there's some things when you see a handball like the Lindelof one and you go, that doesn't sit right with me. That's not intentional handball. That's what VAR was not brought in to solve. Like the Danny Ings, Sadio Mane, millimetre offside. It weren't brought in for the millimetre offside. It was the gaping errors. So the fact that we're going, to the nth degree to solve everything is going to take a lot of time for everyone to get used to.
Stephen?
I have absolutely no problem with it. Listen, you use what you have, you use the tools you have, and I understand that it's tough to get a goal disallowed the way Manny has and the way Danny Ings has, but I don't think you can argue that, in my opinion, I suppose it is that it's made progress. You know, we're talking about a decision that is centimetres, right? But look at all the great decisions that we've had. Look at all the stuff. And the fact is, if we didn't have VAR, we would still be having as much arguments about referees needing help, referees being inconsistent, linesmen not knowing what they're looking at. And so, overall, you've got to say it's way better having VAR than just saying, oh, that's okay, let's have human error.
But it's way better, Stevie. I think it's way better in the domestic leagues. But then as soon as a couple of weeks' time comes and the Champions League's involved, there'll be a totally different ruling. So it's like the Premier League players, the Bundesliga players, Serie A and La Liga. They're getting used to the rules, but as soon as they go into Champions League and Europa League, it's like it's a different rule book.
It's no any different. It's no any different than playing in Europe with European referees where they give decisions against you. One referee says it's a foul, the other one says play on.
It's
no any
different
to anything else. It's not any different. You have to get on
last season.
You have to deal with it.
Yeah, but you look at the Champions League last season when Kimpembe was adjudged to have handballed a game against Man United. Never a handball in a million years.
Jules,
yet the rules seem to be different.
So the ref got a bit of decision wrong. No surprise.
Yeah, but the referee got the decision wrong and VAR got the decision wrong. So it's a double whammy.
Well, they're going to make mistakes. They're referees, they're officials, they're human. They make mistakes. Way better us being able to see something rather than sit and watch the telly and having to go with what they did without being able to see it yourself.
Jules, why the English in particular?
I think because maybe if Stevie is right, it's in their culture anyway to moan and to whinge. But more seriously, I think because they wanted to do their thing their way, VAR, but their way, not following everybody else's rules in all the rest of Europe, in what UEFA was saying, in what FIFA was saying. They wanted their own rules for handball, their own VAR rules. Remember the first couple of seasons, the referee never used to go and check the monitor. It was there for them. Everybody else in the whole world was doing it, but they said, no, we England, we're not going to do this. Don't go and check the monitor. And we were like, but why? Now they're doing it. It's much better. We've seen many decisions overturned because the ref finally himself went over, checked the screen, said, okay, I got it wrong, or I got it right, or whatever. But do you remember how stupid and silly it was when they refused at the beginning to go and check the screen? You were like, why are you doing that? So I think that didn't help at all.
Thank you very much. Go on, Stevie.
No, I think rather than just say that we like them one up, the truth is, the British are way more traditionalistic than any other country I've ever known. And that's what it is. We like tradition, and it's hard for us to change. That's the problem, as much as anything else.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.